Thank you, everyone. This is a huge moment for us. First ever Republic Day. It will not be the last. We will have Republic Days every year on this anniversary of the coronation, on this anniversary of Charles being anointed our head of state, refusing to stand for election, and we will keep on going until the monarchy is abolished. And we need to talk to more people about why we want to abolish the monarchy, because it is bigger than simply changing our head of state. It is bigger than simply not having Charles. Although we do not want Charles, we do want a choice. We do want to be able to elect our head of state and have a better, fairer, more equitable democracy. And we want to do this for so many reasons, not least because the monarchy stands against our values. It stands against our principles. It stands against equality and fairness and democracy. It believes and celebrates the idea that there is a natural hierarchy at which they are at the top. And the idea that Charles is at the top of any natural hierarchy is clearly nonsense. But we need to send that message to him and to the whole monarchy and to everybody in this country until everyone says, yes, it is time to change the country for good. It is time to abolish the monarchy, and it is time to elect our head of state. We want a constitution and a system and a politics and a democracy which actually celebrates our very best principles and values, that puts them at the heart of everything we do. Because this won't just be a matter of principle, it will change the way we govern ourselves and therefore change the society and the way that we see ourselves, not as subjects, but as citizens. We should have no entry signs on any of our public life. There should be no institutions, whether it's the Lords or the monarchy, where we are not allowed in, where we have no say in who is going to be on that throne or who is going to be in the upper chamber. This is not how a democracy should work. And we are forced to compromise our values and principles. We talk about corruption in politics. We talk about the abuse of public life. We talk about the abuse of public money. We talk about lobbying behind closed doors. We talk about it with the politicians. We criticize the government for these things. We criticize MPs for spending thousands of pounds on second homes. We criticize Angela Rayner for spending £1,500 on not paying taxes she should have paid, but we don't criticize William for spending £4.5 million of our money on doing up not his second home or his third home, but his fourth home. We don't criticize Charles for having a dozen homes. We don't criticize Charles, the environmentalist, for flying everywhere by helicopter. We don't criticize William, the environmentalist, for flying everywhere by helicopter. We listen to the journalists who tell us that Charles is a workaholic, even though he does barely a thing. We listen to journalists who talk about William going back to work so that he could do one quick trip down the road and back to his life of leisure after that. We need to challenge the monarchy and the royals because it is a corrupt institution. They are lazy people. They have not earned their position, and they need to be kicked out. And when they are gone, then we can build a democracy that we can all have a stake in and all be proud of and all choose everybody in our parliament and our head of state and know that we are responsible for those decisions. And yes, we might get it wrong. Yes, we might choose someone who is no good, but then we can choose someone else later. But the idea that Ireland, or little Iceland of less than 500,000 people, or Germany, or Finland, or Austria can choose their head of state and can do it well, have inspirational, great heads of state. Iceland was the first country in the world to democratically elect a woman as their head of state in 1980. And at that time, we were being told we were lucky to have Queen Elizabeth on the throne, and that we were lucky to have her 10 years later and 10 years after that. We should be the ones electing great heads of state, and the idea that we can't do that from a population of 65 million people is clearly nonsense. Just as the nonsense of tourism. The idea that all the people that are here today and down the road looking at the palace, or down the other road looking at Parliament, or down on the South Bank today, that they have come here because we don't elect our head of state is clearly nonsense. And clearly, the one thing that annoys me the most about monarchists, people who support this stupid institution, is that they say that without it, we would be a dull country, that we wouldn't be able to bring the tourists in, as if we rely on this one tedious family to bring people in, that we don't have the creativity, the ingenuity, the genius and the brilliance to bring all these people in anyway, that we can't thrive economically and socially and politically without Charles dressing up in ridiculous uniforms and sitting on ridiculous thrones. We can, of course, thrive, and we can thrive better if we do not have this nonsense holding us back, telling us that we should live in our past rather than strive for a more democratic future. And there are so many issues where changing our constitution, getting rid of the monarchy, is going to make us more democratic and therefore mean that when we solve other problems, it'll be easier and the solutions will be more egalitarian. We are struggling to deal with our historic legacy of colonialism and slavery, and part of the reason is because people don't want to point the finger at the royal family. The royal family who, from the days of James I, were absolutely instrumental in promoting, funding, sponsoring, and investing in the slave trade, who celebrated empire. These are people who are absolutely at the heart of the slave trade and empire, and people are loath to look at those, that legacy because they're loath to point the finger at the family who want to celebrate and be applauded because of their 1,000-year history. But when you point to what that 1,000-year history actually looks like, they don't want to know. Not me, Gov. Well, it is you, Gov, and you're still sitting on billions of pounds of untaxed money, which was inherited down the line from when they were invested in slavery. But also issues of environmentalism, of equality, of social and economic justice are going to be easier to deal with in a more democratic society, where we instill in our national ethos and in our institutions the notion that we, the people, as citizens, not subjects, we are the ones who are going to make the decisions. We are not going to simply be going to the polls once every 4 years or 5 years to choose the people that then make those decisions for us without us having any say. So this is about empowering the people. It's about shifting power from government to parliament and from parliament to people so that we can have a more egalitarian, more equitable and more democratic society. So it is about abolishing the monarchy, and it has to be about abolishing the monarchy for so many reasons. And there is not one good reason or one good argument in defense of the monarchy. It is a wretched, rotten constitutional institution that needs to be gone, and gone for good. And when it is gone, we will be more democratic and we will change the country for good.